heroin and drugs? I'd rather die than tell you.
You're already a dead man.
Strangers packing. I will.
You were in a hole, and so was I.
They want us.
Thought I'd seen my last firefight.
Dutton Ranch Episode 9 in. Have you ever wondered if everything Rob has done has finally caught up with him? Episode 9 is the season finale, and after everything we witnessed in the last episode, it honestly feels like there is no turning back anymore. Beth and Rip now know the truth about the 10-petal ranch. Joaquin has finally decided to fight back, and Sheriff Wade could be closer than ever to uncovering what really happened. But the biggest question is this: will Rob finally end up in prison, or is he about to make one last desperate move that changes everything? I honestly think this finale has the potential to become the biggest episode of the entire season. So let's break down everything that could happen and why Rob's downfall might finally be here. Episode 8 completely changed the direction of this story, and I don't think enough people are talking about how dangerous Rob's situation has become. Throughout the season, he always stayed one step ahead of everyone else. Every time somebody challenged him, he found a way to escape the consequences. But now, for the first time, it feels like every secret he has been hiding is starting to come together. Austin's confession gave Beth and Rip information they never had before. They now understand how the 10-petal ranch has been operating behind everyone's back, and more importantly, they finally know what caused so many of the problems affecting their own ranch. That changes everything because Beth and Rip are no longer reacting to Rob's actions. They finally have enough information to start making moves of their own. At the same time, Joaquin has reached a point where he simply has nothing left to lose. Earlier in the season, he tried to stay patient and hope the truth would eventually come out on its own. But after everything that happened to Wes, and after seeing how Rob continues to manipulate everyone around him, it seems clear that Joaquin has accepted one important fact. If nobody stops Rob now, the entire ranch could be destroyed. That is exactly why I think Joaquin's phone call at the end of episode 8 was one of the most important moments of the entire series. The writers could have easily ended the episode after he visited Sheriff Wade, but instead they showed us that mysterious phone call. I don't think that happened by accident. One possibility is that Joaquin contacted someone who knows every illegal operation connected to the 10-petal ranch. If that person decides to come forward, then Rob could suddenly find himself facing evidence that is impossible to deny. Throughout this season, the biggest problem has never been proving that Rob is dangerous. Everyone already knows that. The real problem has always been finding evidence that the sheriff can actually use. Without proof, Wade cannot arrest him. But if new witnesses begin speaking or hidden evidence finally appears, then everything changes overnight. This is where Beth and Rip become even more important. I honestly don't think they are going to rush into another direct confrontation. That would only give Rob another chance to escape. Instead, I think they are going to play this much more carefully. Beth has always been at her strongest when she stays calm and lets her enemies make mistakes. Rip also understands that acting too early could ruin everything they have worked toward. Because of that, I believe their plan will focus on quietly gathering enough evidence before Rob even realizes what is happening. What makes this finale even more exciting is that Rob has no idea how much information Beth and Rip already have. He still believes he controls the situation. That confidence could become his biggest weakness. The more comfortable he feels, the more likely he is to make one final mistake. And if that mistake happens while Sheriff Wade is already investigating the ranch, then Rob could find himself with nowhere left to run. Of course, nothing in this show is ever that simple. Even if Rob realizes the walls are closing in around him, I don't think he will surrender peacefully. If anything, I expect him to become even more dangerous than before. People like Rob will rarely accept defeat without fighting back, and that is exactly why episode 9 has all the ingredients to become the most explosive episode of the season. Every major character now has something to lose. Every secret is getting closer to being exposed. And one wrong decision could completely change the future of Dutton Ranch forever. Now, the biggest question is whether Sheriff Wade finally has enough evidence to put Rob behind bars. In episode 8, Joaquin tried to do the right thing by bringing the murder weapon to the sheriff. Unfortunately, Wade couldn't do very much because there was still one major problem. There was no body, And without a body, proving that a murder actually took place becomes much more difficult. That is exactly why I think episode 9 could focus on finding the final piece of evidence that has been missing all along. I honestly believe Rip could become the key to this entire investigation. Out of everyone on the ranch, Rip probably understands better than anyone where the truth has been buried. Throughout the season, he has remained careful about every decision he makes because he knows one mistake could destroy everything Beth has been trying to protect. But now the situation has changed. If Raoul continues gaining power, then staying silent may no longer be an option. Rip may finally decide that exposing the truth is less dangerous than allowing Raoul to remain free. One theory that makes a lot of sense is that Joaquin will return to Rip after his conversation with Sheriff Wade. Instead of asking for another fight, I think he could ask for something much more important. He may ask Rip to help recover the evidence that has been hidden since Wes disappeared. If that evidence includes Wes's body or anything that directly connects Raoul to the crime, then Sheriff Wade would suddenly have exactly what he needs to begin making arrests. And honestly, I think Raoul may already suspect that people are working against him. Throughout the series, he has always been one step ahead because he knows how to read people. He notices when someone becomes nervous, when someone starts asking questions, or when somebody suddenly changes their behavior. That means if Joaquin, Beth, and Rip are planning something together, they will have to move very carefully. One careless conversation or one unexpected witness could warn Raoul before their plan is ready. But this is where I think Raoul could make the biggest mistake of his entire life. Instead of staying patient, he may decide to strike first. We've already seen how ruthless he can become whenever he feels threatened. If he believes someone is about to expose him, he might start intimidating witnesses, destroying evidence, or forcing people to stay quiet. While that strategy has worked before, it could actually make things much worse this time. Every desperate action creates more attention, and the sheriff will almost certainly notice if people connected to the investigation suddenly begin disappearing or changing their stories at the same time. Beth is someone Raoul should never underestimate. She has spent the entire season watching him carefully, learning how he operates, and waiting for the perfect opportunity. Beth has never been the kind of person who rushes into a battle without a plan. She knows that winning is not about reacting emotionally. It is about making sure your opponent has no way to escape once the trap is set. That is exactly why I think she will encourage everyone to stay patient for just a little longer. Rip will probably agree with that strategy because he understands something that Joaquin is only beginning to realize. Revenge and justice are not always the same thing. Joaquin wants Raoul to pay immediately, but Rip knows that if they move too early, Raoul could simply disappear before the sheriff arrives. Building a strong case takes time, but if they succeed, Raoul may never be able to escape again. I also keep thinking about the title of this finale. A season finale usually brings together every storyline that has been building throughout the season, and this one feels no different. Every character now seems to be moving toward the same destination. Beth wants to protect the ranch. Rip wants to protect his family. Joaquin wants justice for Wes. Sheriff Wade wants enough evidence to make an arrest. Even Bula may soon realize that trusting Raoul has only created even bigger problems. That is why I believe the final confrontation won't simply be about guns or violence. The real battle could be over the truth itself. Whoever controls the evidence will control the future of the ranch. And if Beth, Rip, Joaquin, and Sheriff Wade finally manage to connect every piece of the puzzle, then for the first time all season, Raoul could find himself standing alone with nowhere left to hide. At that point, the image of Raoul being placed in handcuffs may no longer feel impossible. It may be the ending that this entire season has been building toward from the very beginning.